My next guest, he's a journalist for Behind the Grind. Please welcome onto the show today, Mr. Jonah Rawls. How you doing, Jonah?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing good, good, good.
Awesome, brother. I hope I pronounced that right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Perfect.
Perfect, perfect, brother. So welcome onto the show, man. How you been?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm excited to talk some UFC and stuff today.
Awesome, brother. So you want to just take a quick minute, let the audience know who it is that you are, Jonah, and what you do.
So I'm Jonah Rawls, like you said. I interview fighters, MMA fighters, in both in UFC, Bellator One, LFA, just any professional fighter that I can talk to, ask about. And yeah, I do that. I write some stories for Behind the Grind, the page that I'm working for right now. And yeah, I've been a UFC fan for man. The first event I remember watching was probably, I think I watched Conor Nate one was the
Mhm.
first event that I watched, and then from there on out, it was just kind of a steady increase of me just loving the sport, and now I'm here.
What a hell of a fight to watch for your first UFC fight, man.
Hey, that's why it got me into it.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome, brother. I remember I watched when I started watching, Rich Franklin was still like the middleweight champ,
right.
fighting David Loazo, and then he came into this thing with Anderson Silva. It crushed my heart. But I remember watching that sport, and I just was so
Yeah.
in awe. So I can only imagine watching Conor and Nate as your first first
And it
fight.
was right at the height. It was at the height of Conor Mania too. Like it
Yeah,
was
oh for sure.
the peak of it. It was crazy. But yeah, what a first fight, right?
Definitely, brother. So
Yeah.
you stuck along with the UFC. You love MMA. You've been watching this, and you've been fair to say classify you as a hardcore
Yeah,
fan,
for
correct?
sure. Every event, every fight, the prelims, all that stuff.
So were you
Like,
like me, just salivating at these matches from this past weekend, man? I
dude,
was going crazy for them.
okay, so like the whole card, obviously that I was so upset at the when the Volk Ortega fight got canceled.
Oh, for
'Cause,
sure, man.
man, heartbreaking because I'm really high on Ortega. I like Ortega a lot.
I can
I
agree
think
with you.
I think I think he was going to beat Volk. I know Volk's good and everything, but man, Ortega versus Zombie looked so good, so much better than I had previously seen and thought. So I was really except for that one. But yeah, the prelims were so good, and then obviously the main card was banging.
It was intense. He started off with with a Malarkey win, man, and I didn't know what to make of that. So I had somebody tell me that watch out for Malarkey towards the end. So I said, all right, cool. Well, I'll roll with this guy. And then, man, what a banger of a
Yeah.
first fight to start off with. Then we saw Jillian Robertson lose. Unfortunately, I'm a big supporter of Jillian. I actually had Jose Torres on the show before, so
Oh.
he's a big, he trains with her. Obviously, it sucks to see her lose. Any comment on that one?
Yeah, it was. I honestly, I was kind of impartial going in.
Okay.
I'd talked to Miranda before. We were supposed to do an interview, but some stuff fell through with scheduling. But yeah, I kind of was. To me, it was unpredictable
Yeah.
because you had Miranda, who's an excellent grappler, and then you had Jillian, who's also incredible in that regard.
With Dean
Um,
Thomas.
huh?
With Dean
Yeah,
Thomas.
Dean Thomas. Yeah, I So I don't know. I always thought in the second round, once Jillian started getting on her back a lot, I was like, it might not end well because if Jillian gets on your back, dude, she was like a monkey in there.
Yeah.
Hops on the back like it's nothing, and she stays on there like a backpack, bro. Like she's impossible to get off. But I was really impressed with Miranda because she was able to in the next round, in the third round, just act like that second round didn't even happen and go
Yeah. Just
right
get
back to what she
calm.
did. Of course.
The
Yeah.
calmness. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was really impressive.
Yeah. So that really impressed me. But going in, I didn't. It was unpredictable to me. It could have gone either way.
For sure. Now, obviously, the main like chunk of this fight that really sold it and what was advertised and promoted for the audience was, first of all, was Sean O'Malley's return, man. I thought, if he came in, he looked calm, man. I feel like there was a lot of pressure on this guy because, first of all, the way he lost in his first loss was sucked. No one wants to lose like that. And then obviously he got swarmed with a bunch of hate.
Yeah.
Which is gonna happen, man. Especially when you carry yourself in such a confidence and a flashy kind of confidence with him. So I felt like the pressure was definitely on. He was one of the people that I thought the pressure was really up on. So against him, and he fought. I mean, Almeida wasn't a joke, man. He's not a joke of a fighter. legit dude. He's been there with some of these with some of the tough vets in there. And I thought O'Malley came in real calm and composed again, like we're talking about. What did you think of that fight?
I thought I knew Almeida was durable,
Yeah,
but I mean Eddie Wineland is also super durable too,
yeah,
and he'd never been like finished like that before. So
yeah.
going in, I was like, well, if Sean can do that to Eddie Wineland, who's crazy durable again, then I was like, well, I think he's going to be able to do it in the first 10 minutes,
Okay,
and I almost almost did.
almost.
Um, yeah, but good Lord, man, that kick that landed on Almeida, how did he not go to sleep? That was the most flush shin bone to the jaw. Like he was leaning into it. It was insane. Yeah, but going in, I thought O'Malley was going to get it done in 10 minutes, under 10 minutes. And then Almeida just stuck with him. But I was really impressed
Tough
with
that.
um, O'Malley because his thing is like, feinting and,
Yeah,
creating different angles and looks and stuff like that. And he started doing this thing where because he throws a lot of spinning stuff, right? So
yeah,
he started something that I noticed that I'd never noticed before in his other fights. He'll like fake and he'll like turn his head this way, almost like completely sideways, like kind of faking the
yeah.
spinning stuff. And it was weird because it was so fast.
Okay.
Like as Almeida, I would be so confused in there, like because if he throws one, you have to block, like you have to do something about it, and it's like I don't know. And he also looked like he was moving in fast forward the entire fight. It's
Yeah, and I
so
think
quick.
also it comes like the mind, the way again you talk about that. So I always think that when people like do a lot of fake stuff, it kind of it adds an increase to like I guess like your stability, your stamina and stuff like that in a sense because again it's such a like I think MMA in general any kind of form of martial art it's such an endurance thing in your mind, not just your body, but in your mind as well. And I mean eventually you're gonna it's kind of hard to throw you off like a pattern.
Yeah.
So then so I can definitely see that. Ah man, I was getting like faked out in a sense with some of these his moves and stuff while I was watching him because you just don't know. And
Yeah.
I mean, you alluded to O'Malley's the kind of guy that, I mean, he catches you, man. If you don't block one or he fakes you out, I mean, you're done for the most
Yeah.
part, you know.
Yeah.
So Almeida's a tough customer, man. I thought O'Malley would win the fight. It was a big one for him, in my opinion, just because again the pressure and the kind of
Yeah.
hate, man, that this guy
I know.
got towards the end. Guys like Cody Garbrandt that were calling him out, Cejudo that were just really like throwing shade. It's intense, man. Intense. What fight would you like O'Malley to have?
I saw Dom Cruz was
Yeah.
talking about fighting O'Malley. I think that would be really interesting because they're very, very similar. I think I think O'Malley would get it done, but that would be such a good fight. One thing I want to say about O'Malley, real quick,
Yeah.
before we kind of like move on, I
For
was
sure.
talking to my buddy about this, and I think O'Malley. This obviously, the sky is the limit for him. He
Absolutely.
has put away everyone that I mean, almost everyone that's been in front of him in crazy cool fashion. He's got this aura around him,
Yeah.
He's got that X factor. But I was always saying that like it is fighting. If you're not durable, if you can't stay healthy, then you can't like compete at this level. Like if you get like obviously the leg kick thing with Cheeto was kind of might have been like bizarre, but he has had problems with his ankles. Like so that's something that I always say. I think my prediction for O'Malley's career is he's gonna be the guy who always is like doing really, really well in fights, but then outside the octagon or maybe even inside, he just gets injured very easily. I think he's kind of a glass cannon,
So
you
you
know?
think the career could be derailed in a sense, and not maybe not derailed, but it could be halted
Yeah.
with injury concerns, which is, I mean, that's a perfectly good, understandable thing.
Hey, I don't want it to. I
No,
don't
no,
want
for
it to.
sure. No, no, for sure.
I love I will watch any Sugar fight. Don't get it twisted, but
No, for sure.
I just something that I'm nervous for.
No, I mean, and we have to, and like in the field that we're in, I mean, we have to be obviously there's a sense of being realistic and
Yeah.
seeing patterns
Yeah.
and seeing the background, man. Like I same thing with football, man. When you're watching, and I do a lot of NFL. I don't know how much NFL you do, but when I look at quarterbacks and I look at the thing, like I like to really pride myself on being able to evaluate a quarterback. Like, do you know who Joe Burrow is?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I was in Boston and I was watching LSU versus Texas. This is early in the season, man, and I told myself, and I saw him play, and I told myself, okay, well that's what an NFL quarterback should be. You know, that's what a player is. And then you go to the background. There were some concerns because he had to transfer from a different college, from a different university, and he struggled earlier on. But from what I saw, I'm like, okay, well that's what it's supposed to look like. So when you look at O'Malley, that's what a fighter's supposed to look like. That's going to sell tickets. It's entertainment, and how skillful he is. But obviously, when we look at the injury concerns and what happened with Cheeto, I mean, yes, I can agree with you and say that it is a little bit concerning, and he's going to be who he is, of course, right? That's what makes him him. But obviously, the concern is justified in that sense. Obviously, we don't wish injury on anyone. Obviously, I want to. If he rolls on to a title shot, I mean, we want to see that. Of course, want to see the best version of themselves. So I can definitely agree on that one.
Yeah.
What did you think of Tyron, man? Tyron Woodley was somebody that I thought, again, another guy that had an immense amount of pressure on him. Hasn't really looked the same ever since that Usman loss. Luke is an animal, man, and I didn't like the fight for Woodley just because Luke is a stud, man. I mean, he was 12-3 in the UFC before this fight. He lost his debut, and then he went on a run and had only lost to Wonder Boy and Leon, which, I mean, those are two of the absolute best in the world. No shame in that. I thought this was going to be a nightmare matchup for Woodley, man. Your thoughts on this fight?
I 100% agree. I think matchup wise, it was bad for Woodley, and obviously we've seen Woodley. He's got insane power.
For sure, yes.
That's like that's his thing. Like he's such a strong guy. And Luke is I think the most durable guy in the UFC. Like it's unreal the amount of shots he's absorbed and like just not even been phased at all.
Yeah.
But when Woodley came out and cracked him, I was like, okay, like we're back. T Wood is back.
Yeah, he came to fight.
Yeah. And props to him, man, because honestly, after losing 3 straight fights like that and in the way that he lost them, like I'm so surprised the dude didn't even hang it up. Like that is so much courage, like so much pressure. And to go out and answer the haters, my respect for him went up a ton, even though he lost the way he did. I've never been a huge T Woodley fan, but like, I mean, I so much respect for him for going out like that. Live by the sword, die by the sword, man. Like a gladiator.
Yeah. So when I saw Woodley, and I think my introduction to him was when he fought Kelvin Gastelum. Huge Kelvin Gastelum fan. Beat him by a split decision. Then I don't know if you saw the knockout of Robbie Lawler, the finish he had on him to win the title. I'm like, all right, well, this guy's legit. So then finished off Darren Till fan. So when I saw him fight against, this guy kept knocking off some of the fighters that I grew up enjoying to watch. Right. So when he fought against Kamaru, man, Kamaru just dominated him. It looked like Kamaru was the champ.
Yeah.
But my respect in the sense with Woodley is that, man, that guy just took so many shots and took so much damage. And there was 3 or 4 times where that fight could have really been stopped or was close to being stopped, where this guy just toughed it out, stuck it in there, man. And truly the heart of a warrior.
Yeah.
Truly the heart of a warrior there, and was able to handle those kind of punishment. Usman was just laying it down, man. And then obviously, you alluded to those losses, like, Colby really messed him up too, man.
Yeah.
Colby, it's hard.
Yeah. I'm a big Colby. I like Colby a lot because
I like Colby too.
Yeah. I think it's funny how he's kind of like playing the villain, he knows he's playing into it, which I think is funny. But yeah, man. Yeah, Tyron's a gladiator, bro. Honestly, even accepting the Luque fight, to me, like you said, not a great matchup because Luque is a guy who going in wasn't super high. He's not like a super huge prospect. Like people aren't riding the Luque train per se. Yeah. So obviously he's talented and durable. He's beat a ton of talented dudes, but a very, very dark horse of the division type guy. Absolutely. Not one that if Woodley would have won, people would have been like, oh, of course Woodley won. Like he's fighting a guy who's ranked like that low. But it was kind of a bad matchup, a weird matchup. But dude, I've never seen Luque really hurt like that. So I was surprised. It was so fun. The fight was so fun while it lasted. So I'm very proud of Woodley and happy. Even that he lost, I'm happy that that he fought the way he did, at least,
Yeah, for sure. He went down swinging. I mean, I believe that was his last fight in his contract.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Luque, though, man. Geez, I was telling a couple of my friends going into this fight, man, watch out for Luque. A lot of people didn't really know who he is. Again, he's a very I think it's fair to say that he's very soft spoken.
Yeah,
Don't talk a lot of smack.
yeah,
Very talented fighter, man. Climbing up the ranks. Coincidentally, I thought, it's a good thing we're talking right now, because we would have done this earlier in the week. We would have gotten the news with the Leon and Nate Diaz fight.
yeah,
I would have told you that Luque, and we'll touch up on that one in a bit,
yeah,
but I would have told you Luque versus Leon to me would have made sense.
yeah, yeah.
They fought 4 years ago,
They both.
completely different fighters.
Yeah.
Give Luque a chance to redeem himself, and his skills are very improving. I think he's a very well-rounded fighter,
Mm,
who a lot of people aren't talking about. And I'm telling everybody, watch out for this guy. He's an absolute stud.
yeah.
Man, I'm kind of in the hard one here though, as to who I think he should fight. Can you give me your opinion on that one?
You're talking about the
Luke, like who should Luke fight next?
Yeah, I think if I'm Luque, I would just wait for that Diaz and Leon fight, and I would take the loser.
Okay.
Because I don't think he'd be able to get the winner just because his ranking and
Yeah.
he's not like on a crazy tear or anything right now. But regardless, but no matter who loses, that's a huge name, Leon or Diaz. And when he called out Diaz, man, I was sitting with my buddies and I was like, "Whoa, that's a good fight." Because, like you said, Luke is soft spoken. He's not big on the call outs and the trash talk and all that. And because you don't really think about him as like a top tier contender,
Yeah.
but he's right up there now.
Yeah,
So
man.
like when he called out Diaz, it was like, oh, okay, that would be a good fight, man.
Yeah, and you look at his resume. I mean, now 13-3 in the UFC, man. He's won about 4 or 5 in a row now,
Yeah,
and I mean, again, he's lost to. You can't really knock him on the losses though. I mean, lost to Wonder Boy, lost to
Wonder
Leon.
Boy.
I I would have liked for him maybe against Wonder Boy, but that fight it's happened within 2 years, man. I still think there needs to be a better amount of time that moves forward with that, and to me, it's such a tough one on there. So Thompson would have made sense for me in that sense, but again, though, within 2 years, man, I still think you got to let some more time slide. I would like to see him fight against Gilbert Burns. I think that would make sense, or a Chiesa.
Ooh, that's a good fight.
Yeah,
Forgot
because
about Keith.
so he's currently, so in the updated rankings, he's ranked 6 now.
He's above Keith,
Chiesa,
right?
yeah,
7.
so Chiesa 7. So he's 6 right now. Burns is number 2, I believe. No, number 2. Yes, number 2.
Yeah,
Because
that sounds
Colby's
right.
number 1.
Yeah,
It's crazy, man. They didn't give
yeah,
Colby a shot, man.
I think Colby should just wait because I think, dude, it's so funny though. The top five and the welterweight top five never like fight each other. Like
Yeah,
unless it's fighting for the title, they just never fight each other. It's bizarre. Um, but I want Colby. I think Colby in a rematch with Kamaru. Hopefully, being a Colby fan,
yeah,
I would want him to win. I think he might, because he was up on the judges' scorecards,
yeah,
before the stoppage, which it was a really close fight regardless.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't. The welterweight is so weird. None of them really like to fight each other in the top five. They all think they deserve a title shot like right away. It's so weird.
Yeah, and so to me, it's real interesting. So I think Kobe's awesome. I think Kobe versus, so ideally, right? Fantasy, this fantasy right now. What I ideally wanted was, I wanted either Kamaru versus Colby, and for that to be like, for them to be the coaches on the new season of the Ultimate Fighter,
Yeah, yeah,
and I wanted them to build. I mean, what, like Colby Covington, man, building up, or even just Colby or Masvidal
yeah.
building up a season of the Ultimate Fighter, man, would have been just
So
knock it
amazing.
out of the park with for the UFC, as far as ratings, subscriptions, all that good stuff, man. So it's very surprised, but I think Colby is being smart. He's waiting it out. Obviously, we don't know what's gonna happen in that upcoming fight,
Right.
but I think the smart thing is to just hold back, because
Yeah,
there could be a bigger payday for you down the road as well.
I agree.
Very,
And
very
and
interesting
and
prospect.
honestly, yeah, as fans, you want to see him fight, because you're fans of the guy, But you also have to understand like why risk it, because if he just waits, I'm sure that he'll probably get that rematch. Like, um, let's say Usman beats Masvidal. Also, I'm going to that fight in Jacksonville. Me and my
Oh, you
buddy
are?
got tickets. Yeah, so
Oh,
I'm gonna be
sweet.
there. I know it's gonna be crazy. Anyways, yeah, I think I've lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
Masvidal against, let's say Usman beats Masvidal.
Oh yeah. Let's say Usman beats Masvidal, which I think is gonna happen. Then what? Then who's left? Like
It's got to be
I,
Colby, bro.
it's got to be Colby, right? Even if Leon or Nate win, I still don't think that's enough. If Nate wins, that's his first win in I don't know when was that BMF fight? Was it a year and a
Well, he
half?
didn't even win that one though.
Oh, you're right. Well, yeah, you're right. Last time he won was
I think was it Connor? Was it the Connor? No, he beat. I believe he beat Pettis.
Pettis. Pettis. It
He
was
beat
at
Pettis. He beat
241. He
Pettis.
beat Pettis.
Was it the? It was the
It was the
Stipe
Stipe
Cormier 2.
two. Yeah, two. Yeah, man. So I don't think either guy has done enough. Also, Leon was saying after he beat Bilal, he was saying, or after that, whatever, he was like, he was saying like he deserves a title shot or something, and I was like, I don't think so. The guys he's beat, he might be on a streak, but the guys he's beat, I don't think are really. I don't think that really grants a title shot with the guys he's beat. You know.
He's got to beat a few because so he beat RDA.
Right.
And RDA, no, he's a solid fighter,
of course,
but he's outside of the top 5.
Right.
You gotta beat someone in the top 5, man.
Yeah, 100%. You can't get a title shot. I mean, unless you're like, it's got to be some crazy circumstances if you get it like a short notice or something like that. Like, there's no way you can't beat a top 5 guy and get a title shot. So
this is real interesting, man. So fair to say, I wouldn't give him a title. I wouldn't give Leon. I'd give Colby the shot over Leon because still him beating Nate to me isn't going to do it enough. Right? Fair to say that. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
But we're in a quandary here, man, because again, and no disrespect to Leon, fantastic fighter, very skilled, well-rounded, has been on a streak though, regardless. Yeah. Very interesting. I'd still give it to Colby because I think Colby, I mean, look at the win. Regardless, Tyrone was in that middle of a little funk or run, whatever like that. But it wasn't the funk that it's come to be now. Yeah. But he dominated Woodley.
Yeah,
this guy is very outspoken. I think he gave Usman a good fight, man. I think out of anybody that Usman's fought, I think Colby's given him a run for his money.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think that's what makes it interesting because, we'll talk about the Usman fight shortly, but I think that, against the first one, Gamebred and Usman, it went down exactly the way I thought it was going to be. I thought Usman was going to push him around against the cage. I thought Masvidal was going to come in with some good takedown defense, which he did. But eventually, Usman was going to wear him down because if you look at Usman, his tank, man, is just absolutely insane. I mean, this guy, and you would argue that the only other person that could match the tank that Usman has is Colby Covington.
Exactly, yeah.
So it makes it real interesting for me. But you know what? I don't want to get ahead of it right now. We'll talk about this right now. Let's talk about the main event, though, that happened this past weekend. Stipe and Ngannou. This was one of those fights for me. I don't know if it was for you, Jonah, but for me, it was one of those. It's literally a coin flip for me. I mean, I couldn't tell you who was going to win. I flip-flop every single day thinking about this fight.
Yeah.
I thought if Stipe would have made it past the first 2 rounds, I thought his odds were going to increase. I thought it favored early Ngannou. I didn't understand what people were talking about Ngannou when they said that he became a lot better because we talked about this before we started recording. He beat an aging Velasquez, aging Dos Santos. Rosenstruck, he looked sloppy. I think that he was just throwing hits and one landed, which, hey, man, one's all it takes, right? Vicious knockout over him. Again, though, a lot of these guys were towards the tail end. I didn't know what to expect. Stipe's health was a concern for me. What did you think of the fight?
Yeah, when you say the path to the belt, or the guys that he fought leading up to the first Stipe fight and to this Stipe fight, I agree that the guys were, you don't want to say washed or old, but they were at the
tail end of the career, man.
Yeah, of course, certainly out of their prime, I would argue, majority of them. Obviously, Curtis Blades and stuff like that. That's just a good fight, but the guys that he fought, it was kind of weird. Kane came in with a weird
something with his knee.
Yeah, his knee was kind of weird, and he came out like trying to kick Ngannou like right away, which was kind of weird. But yeah, going in though, after watching the first fight, Stipe dismantled him. So I thought that Stipe was going to do it again, but I didn't know how much. Something Chael Sonnen also said that I gave a lot of thought to was he said that Stipe weighed in the first time at 240 or 241 or something like that, and Ngannou weighed in at the same what he weighs now, 260 or 50, whatever. But Stipe was weighing 8 pounds lighter, 10 pounds lighter, something along those lines. And Chael said that might be too much as a wrestler. That might be too much weight difference, you know?
Yeah.
So after seeing that, and after Stipe went in for the first takedown, and then Francis sprawled beautifully. I mean, defended it excellently. And after seeing that, I was, I got really scared for Stipe, man. Very scared for Stipe. But he did look tired. Francis looked a little tired after the first. He was breathing through his mouth. But it was just, yeah, like you said, if it would have gone to later rounds, obviously I think it favored Stipe. But
Yeah.
man, I guess I just don't. I guess I didn't account for how hard he actually hits. You know.
He made sure, man. He made sure it didn't go past the second
Mhm.
round. If because I think that I like what you're saying. He looked tired,
Yeah,
and the guy hadn't gone in 4 fights. He hadn't gone past
that was the
a
longest.
minute. A minute and a
Yeah,
half.
yeah,
He hadn't gone past a full round with all those 4 fights combined. So obviously, I thought conditioning was going to be an issue if it went down the later rounds. But
yeah,
again, I think Ghana was like, okay, well, I can't let this go
yeah,
out of the second, and he
yeah.
finished. And he finished.
I think with him, he knows that if it goes later, he's gonna struggle. So he's got to try and get it done in under 10, maybe even 15 minutes. But yeah, props to him, dude. He got it done. And
He won his fight.
um, yeah, I think everyone's talking about this being like the new like Mike Tyson of like the UFC, like
I'm not
bringing
buying it,
in
man.
yeah bringing in a new like era of heavyweight like knockout power greatness, whatever. And hey, dude, if you're finishing guys like that, you deserve that title.
I
But
agree. I agree with you, man. But
yeah,
again, though, when you're looking at the way that everything is set up for him,
mm,
who isn't to say, right? Again, Stipe isn't like at the tail end of everything. I think when I got a fresh Stipe, a fresh one, look what the result was.
yeah,
And sure, they're not the same fighters,
right.
but it's tough to argue. But you want to go from Stipe then to John Jones?
Yeah, dude, that fight. Whew, I think John Jones does work on Francis.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I think so. I think they'll get it done.
Yeah,
I know there's John's tweeting all
yeah,
these things and stuff like that. Obviously, he's trying to play his leverage or
yeah,
hold leverage there. I hope it gets done, man. I hope they're able to resolve this. Dana White's man is usually he's a very tough like president, but he's usually one of the people that gives you the fights that you want for the most part. He
yeah,
makes it happen.
yeah.
He's a very aggressive businessman. I didn't think we were gonna see Usman versus Masvidal,
Me neither. Yeah.
but he made it happen.
Yep.
So we'll see, man. I think John gets it done though, man, and I think that's the difference, man. You're gonna fight someone that's in peak
Yeah.
condition in their prime. I think the pressure's on Ngannou, man,
I think so too.
to get it
It,
done.
yeah, and I also think when guys move up, in typically in heavyweight, when guys move up to 205 to 265, an example that I always think of is John Valenti.
Okay.
John Valenti fought at in light heavyweight a good amount, and then when he moved up, um, he just looked like, for lack of a better word, fat. Like he didn't look. Some guys move up like I think when Gustafsson moved up, he didn't look heavy. He looked bigger, but not like out of shape. It's always interesting to see when guys move up to heavyweight from light heavyweight. It's a huge weight difference, and
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to affect John because he's a professional and he's had a ton of time to put on muscle rather than just eating and getting like a lot of weight on him. Of course, he looks a lot bigger. Some of his posts on Instagram, man, he looks huge. Like
Yeah.
I'm very very weird. Like because we're used to seeing John Jones. He's usually a slimmer guy at 205. He's on a pretty good regiment. He's got long legs. He's a tall dude. But at 265 or whatever he's going to weigh in at, I'm not sure what he's weighing in at now, but force to be reckoned with, I think, for sure.
Absolutely. Like I was talking to Mike Bond a few
Mm,
weeks back from MMA Junkie, and he was telling me because I was talking to him, I was telling him, Mike, what are you looking forward to this year? And he was telling me that one thing I'm really looking forward to is John Jones's debut because Mike was talking about me, and obviously Mike's done it for a long time. He was talking to me about how some of these athletes put on weight. And so he was telling me that John was going the right way on health in a very healthy way, putting on the muscle mass that he has been putting on for his debut at heavyweight. He's saying that he's doing the right things. Not sure if he interviewed anyone in his camp, but he was telling me that he's doing the right things. He's going through the proper fitness stuff. He looks focused. He looks like prime John Bones Jones
Yeah,
going into these fights. And John Bones Jones is pretty unstoppable to me, man. I've seen that guy train on 2 weeks notice to defend the light heavyweight title and win, against top
crazy.
contenders. And that's not the kind this is a more focused John. I don't think he's messing around. I think he acknowledges the threat that Francis is as a fighter. I truly do believe that he got a little bit confident and comfortable at light heavyweight, which is why he's making this move, which is
Right.
why guys, no disrespect to them, but some of these light heavyweights in his previous defenses were going the distance with him. I just don't think he was feeling challenged very much.
Right.
And I'm very excited to see his debut, man. I think he's doing it in a healthy way. I'll take Mike's word for it, and it's gonna be very interesting, man.
Yeah, it's always interesting to me too. Some people don't like John Jones because, you know, a lot of people call him the GOAT. I think he's the greatest of all time. But yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, but people forget, like, at such a young age, he was taking out legends and taking them out, not just taking them to decision, not just edging them. He was finishing dudes. He was finishing Shogun, Machida, like Rampage,
Stephen Bonner towards the
Stephen
end,
Bonner, like, dude, all these huge, like, staples of the light heavyweight, which was the greatest division at the time. Like, I think the most talented division in the history of the promotion, and he was knocking off those guys like it's nothing. And he made the division to where now it's kind of stagnant.
Yeah.
Outside of the very top. You got Blachowicz, you got Dom Reyes, you got Thiago Santos too. But now, like, even Glover Teixeira, but he already beat Glover, so it's like he wiped out that division clean, man. So,
but there's a big drop off though, don't you think? And no disrespect to anyone,
yeah,
but it's John, and then like Jan,
yeah.
and then the rest,
Then,
man.
yeah,
It's just a huge drop off. So I think it was good for the heavyweight division for him to move on, man. Just because, I mean, what were we? I mean, Jan was the only guy left, man, and
yeah,
I think he would have done work on Jan,
yeah. Me
to
too.
be honest with you. So
Yeah,
it's gonna be very interesting, man. I think it gets done, man. I'm not really interested in seeing Francis versus Derek Lewis. To be honest with you, it's not something that sells to me.
yeah,
Not something that gets me to pay for it.
yeah,
For me to tell UFC, hey, take my money.
yeah, yeah,
John versus Francis. Yeah, take my money.
yeah, yeah,
Take my
for
money.
sure.
Yeah,
I
for
would say
sure.
I was saying with my buddies at the heavyweight division, it's kind of weird right now because obviously you have John who's moving up and 100% is going deserves a title shot, nothing less. But then you also have, I think Stipe deserves a rematch at some point. I don't think he should have to fight again, but it's weird because Derek Lewis has also paid his dues. You got Stipe and John Jones. It's like, I'm worried that these guys are going to, outside of John Jones, which I think that fight is next, but I'm worried that Stipe and Derek are going to wait it out and just wait and see what happens, which they have every right and they should. It's a smart decision, but it's just going to be annoying now for the next, I don't know, maybe year and a half, depending on how long it takes this fight to get scheduled. I'm worried that the top of the heavyweight division is going to be kind of stagnant for the next like year and a half or so.
Yeah. So I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I was telling him. So what I think is, I think Stipe needs to reassess. Where's your health at? Because again, only him knows. I'd assume his wife knows, and that's typically, when you're having a conversation like that and you don't want like leaks. I'd say go as far as, loved one and his head coach really, really, really know what's going on in that sense.
Right.
Health wise, whether it was a bad night, which you're entitled to a bad night, it happens.
Right.
So I think with Stipe, and I was telling my buddy that I'd reassess first of all. Is it health? Did he just catch me?
Yeah.
If it's not health and he just caught me, I would advise to, first of all, I think he deserves a match. I think when Francis said he's not interested, I think, boy, like, dude, you owe this guy a rematch. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying you owe this guy a rematch, but dude, like, this guy gave you a rematch after he
Yeah.
dominated you.
Yeah. It was a 50-45. Like,
Yeah, it was 50-45, bro. He won
yeah.
every single round. Like, I'm like, boy, come on,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
Quit playing,
Yeah.
He deserves a rematch.
Yeah.
Those were my initial thoughts. I'm like, I chuckle. I was like, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah.
So I thought of that. But I think he needs to reassess. Okay, health wise, how am I health wise, right? If I am 100%, if I were Stipe, I take a Derek Lewis fight, and here's why. I take the Derek Lewis fight to get myself going because again, when was the last time Stipe fought, Jonah? It was last year. Man, when was that third GC fight, man? I
I
can't
don't
remember
know.
right now. It
I
was
don't even remember.
October,
Was it? S-
November around that time.
I think it was summer. Maybe I
Maybe
was
even the
home.
summer. Maybe even the summer, man. I can't remember right now.
I forget.
Let man, you know what?
Yeah, yeah.
We're
Hey,
on
we
camera
got
right now,
technology,
man.
bro.
But yeah, we're on camera right now.
Yeah. Hey, no worries.
I'm checking
I-
this right now.
I'm pretty sure it was summer, but yeah, it was a while. I think he had eye surgery or something, or he had some problem with the eye that he wanted to deal with before he
So this was in August. So this was
August.
in
Okay.
August. Okay, so
Okay.
this was in August.
Right.
So it had been. We are in a. We're in April. This fight took place in March. 2, 4, 6. We're like
And
7 months. We're looking at 7 months, right? So 7 months happened, but before that, it had been almost pretty much a full year, and before that, he waited another full year.
yeah, yeah,
You need some activity, brother.
yeah, yeah.
And even though he's a vet, he's a vet in the game, and guys like Dominic Cruz say there's no such thing as ring rust. I
Yeah.
think Conor McGregor showed you that there is ring rust to a point, right?
Yeah.
So I feel confident in Stipe being able to take down or dominate Lewis if
Right.
he's able to take him down to the ground. I think Derek Lewis relies a lot on the power punches that can get you through, right? Of the big knockout, the big finish.
Definitely.
I think Stipe could beat him, but I would take, and I know it sounds dumb, right? He should just take a title shot, but get a rep in, man.
Yeah,
That's all I'm
yeah.
saying. Get a rep in.
And they get
You're
that confidence too,
Yeah,
for sure.
for sure, and get some confidence
Yeah,
because the next Ngannou that you face, whether it's Ngannou or John Joe, it's going to be a tougher fight than this last one.
yeah,
You
yeah,
need to get some muscle memory going again.
yeah.
So, I mean, do you agree or disagree with that, man?
Yeah, I was gonna, that's a good point. I 100% agree. I guess I never really thought about Stipe taking another fight. But I mean, I obviously I'd want him to because I hate seeing like stagnant divisions that
I
where
mean,
guys just
it's risky, bro. Don't get me wrong.
oh
It's
oh yeah
risky.
no for sure
100%
yeah
risky.
yeah yeah yeah. But I think you bring up a good point. It would be good for him to get, and I agree. I think he would get it done against Derek. So yeah, I think he should. That's an excellent point. I never really thought about that. But yeah, that would be a good fight. I think Stipe, if he, yeah, I just don't want the stagnant division, man. I hate it.
You gotta get moving, man.
Yeah,
And I mean, it's tough, right? I mean, because again, it's so risky, bro.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
again,
yeah.
I just said Derek Lewis is this guy that relies on the punch. I mean, he can clip you though. He
Of
can
course,
sure
yeah,
as hell clip you and catch you.
yeah,
It's very possible.
yeah,
I like Stipe's chances though, but I think, man, but again, this is all assuming that hey, health is 100%. All
right,
this BS about people rumoring CTE and all these things
yeah,
that's false. I know it's the truth. Your team knows it's the truth. You know
yeah,
what's really going on. I mean, if it's a clip, he clipped you. It happens.
yeah,
Can you perform at a high level though over the course of another two fights?
right.
That being, taking like a Lewis fight, or I mean, because I don't think any other fight would be worth it. If it's not Lewis to like I guess tune you up.
Who's even next? Gone?
Well, not even that. I just don't think. Yeah, I just don't. Any other fight, I would advise him not taking.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
just doesn't do anything for you
yeah. Of course, I
at
agree.
that point.
Yeah,
So I mean, it's gonna be a very interesting point. Let's see how far they drag this one out. Very
yeah.
interesting. But hey, man, UFC 261, a couple other fights though, man, to talk about, brother.
Let's go.
Masvidal, Usman. So you're gonna be there.
I'm gonna be there. Yep.
Oh, awesome, man.
I
Was
dude.
it hard to get tickets for that one?
So my buddy got on. The tickets sold out really quickly. But my buddy got on the like pre or the you have to like sign up online or something to get early access to the tickets. They went on sale one day, and then the next day they went on sale to more people, and then the next day it was open to public. And they sold out on the second day, like an hour after my buddy got us the tickets.
Jesus.
So it was he got them quick, and then so yeah, we're me and a couple of friends are heading there, but I cannot wait, bro. So excited.
Oh, for sure. So you're from Florida?
Yep, yeah, I'm from Florida. I'm born in Tampa and everything. I'm going to school in Tallahassee right now though. So
Oh, Tampa. You a Bucks fan?
yeah, yeah, I'm a Bucks fan. I'm not a huge football guy, but I'm definitely a Bucks fan. Yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
I used to be
Tampa
too.
was crazy this year. Oh, hey, TB12 baby. No, Tampa was crazy this year, man.
Oh,
We
for
went
sure.
we went downtown the night of the Super Bowl. When the Bucks were up, I don't know, by a lot. After halftime, we headed down to like downtown. And it was like anarchy, bro. It was crazy.
Anarchy?
It was like nothing I've ever seen before.
Like
People were everywhere. They were tearing down street signs.
No
People were,
way.
I'm not
Tearing
kidding.
down street
Dude,
signs.
I'm not kidding. People were blaring horns. Like, because, dude, Tampa has never had like I mean, the Lightning won the Stanley Cup, but that's nothing compared to
I
the
mean,
Super.
they won a championship in 02
Yeah,
with Gruden and that
Raiders.
defense. Brad Johnson was a quarterback, right? Ooh.
No.
You know who Brad Johnson is?
No.
Okay, well there you go. And I said, I like deep dive into the NFL, so that's why I know. But yeah, Brad Johnson was the quarterback. Anyways, man, historically they had a historically great defense. They won it then, so it's been since 02, man. So been a while.
Yeah, it's certainly been a little bit.
Super Bowl 2 though, man.
Yeah, dude.
Jesus.
It was amazing. It was so fun.
Anarchy. Saw people taking off shirts, man. Just craziness.
It was crazy. People were screaming. There was a
Hopefully
block.
Nothing was getting burnt, man.
Huh?
Hopefully nothing was on fire, bro.
No, nothing was on fire. Luckily, I wouldn't have been surprised if I seen something. But
I know, right?
No, there was one street block where because there's a ton of like just blocks downtown, and we were walking around just like everywhere you would go, people would just be like, yeah, and just start yelling at you, and you'd be like, yeah, and yell back. But there was this one, there was this one block where it was just a big like parking lot, and someone had pulled their minivan up or something. It was a minivan or a bus or something, I don't know. And they opened all the doors, all the windows, and just started like blasting music, and people were like mosh pitting. It was so crazy. I'd never seen anything like it, but it was insane, man.
Good party, bro. Drinking everywhere. Was people throwing beers everywhere, man? I didn't imagine.
Yeah, it was crazy. There were people. There was a giant tree. People were jumping off like crowd surfing, like and just.
Oh my god,
it's crazy. It's like things I've never seen before. It was awesome.
That's so awesome, man. So it's funny. So something crazy I saw was so I used to be a huge wrestling fan. I still watch wrestling. I keep up with it, but I went to WrestleMania. Believe it or not, I went to a WrestleMania 30 in Louisiana. So, dude, craziest thing I've ever seen, bro. I don't know if you ever like knew anything from the WWE, but some of the fanatics, bro. I mean, if you go to a WrestleMania, bro, you're a fanatic for the most part, man. I mean, you're spending thousands of dollars. So you're in Louisiana. I just turned 21. I'm in Bourbon Street. The date, like the night. So WrestleMania was on a Sunday. Finished like at 10 o'clock. So I went to Bourbon Street right after that, bro. I'm talking about just people going crazy on wrestling shirts. And I kid you not, this is a true story. So these two people, one person was dressed as like Roddy Piper, and some guy was dressed as, man, I can't remember. It was might have been like Mick Foley or something, right? But they were like pretending like, to like hit themselves or like slap and just say, woo, slap. And these guys try to like suplex the other on a pile of horse crap, bro. Like this was legit, bro. Because this is like in Bourbon Street, a lot of the cops are on horses. So out of nowhere, like this, like wrestling match is getting like it's funny, right? It's growing and they're getting a crowd going. This guy from out of nowhere from the crowd comes out, man, takes off his shirt, and he's wearing a referee shirt underneath. Everyone's like, "Whoa!" So like, homeboy finally like suplexes the other like wrestler on the damn horse crap. And he pins them like 1, 2, 3, and it was the most hilarious thing. But I'm talking about like just anarchy, bro.
Yeah.
It was insane. So that's probably like my craziest one that I could think of, man. Dude, people were just smashing, bruised, throwing them everywhere. Funny. It was, woo, man. It was a good time. It was a good time. But so let me segue to this though. Masvidal versus Usman. I know we can go on and on and on about this fight, but do you think it was the right call for Masvidal to get the shot?
I think it should have either been Masvidal or Colby. And either one, I wouldn't have been disappointed. I'm certainly not disappointed it's Masvidal. I think Masvidal is a bigger draw. He's going to bring in more, especially when you're bringing back fans into attendance. I think he might put more fans in seats.
Florida,
and he also had that it was 2 weeks, so he kind of had a built-in, like, even if I get killed, I've got like a good, like Usman was saying, it's like a built-in excuse, for lack of a better word. But
he's saying it was 6 days notice, 20 pounds.
Yeah.
I get you.
Oh yeah, it was. It wasn't 2 weeks. I'm crazy.
It was it was a 6-day notice. So it was a Sunday when all this was like coming into fruition. It was either Saturday night or Sunday. like Sunday night.
Yeah.
And I know that he was Ariel was like reporting that it was a long shot for him to
Yeah.
still get the shot. So he got it built in. I'll tell you what though, man. I don't know if this guy's so like as talented as good as he is that in 6 days he was able to go the limit with the champ, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's rumors, man, that he knew that he got a heads up and he knew what was going on.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Look, Jonah, I'm not a huge conspiracy theorist, but I'm gonna lay one out on for you right now.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
The UFC, in a time where it's craving for stars,
Right.
McGregor just lost. Adesanya just lost. John Bones Jones is playing hardball. You don't have a Ronda Rousey. Amanda Nunes is a star, but there hasn't been a legit cashing in for opponents for her. Shevchenko is probably the one that you could argue with. She's beaten her twice already.
Yeah.
So we're craving star power here. Masvidal puts people in seats, like you said. It would be beneficial for the UFC if Masvidal were to win, because from that point on, depending on how long the fight takes, because if Masvidal wins, it's gonna be a finish.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna be a finish. It has to be a finish.
Yeah. That's it.
Right? So if Masvidal wins, they will generate millions and millions and millions of more dollars. Because then you could say, all right, let's do the trilogy fight. Everyone likes a good trilogy. Let's put Masvidal and Usman to coach the Ultimate Fighter then. Generate a crap load of money
Big.
Yeah. Right after that with ESPN. Build up the fight because, those guys, Masvidal can sell you a fight.
Of course. Yeah.
And then have the finale and then have the final one around November, right? And you're going to just blow off the gate.
Yeah.
COVID's not going to be, it's going to be still, we're still in the middle of the pandemic, right? Right.
Yeah.
But it's April. We're going to start having live crowds. By then, I have a feeling that the situations will get better. So more money will be generated. Yeah. What do you think, man?
Yeah, man. Hey, that would be crazy. That would be honestly amazing. That would be fun. But again, if that happens, the division.
Conspiracy here.
Yeah. Oh, of course. But if that does happen and Masvidal gets it done, I just don't want to see stagnant. Like I said before, like a slow.
I'm telling you, brother, that yeah. It's
because
full year, bro.
You still have guys at the top. Like you still have. Honestly, I think Wonder Boy deserves something, bro. Wonder Boy has been doing work on everyone. I think he deserves something. Maybe Burns or something. I don't know, but he needs.
I mean, I like to watch Wonder Boy against Colby. I want to see how Colby can match up with that.
I just don't think Colby would take it. It doesn't. I don't think it really, because I think he can just wait it out the UFC and then get that title. But yeah, man, that'd be crazy if that did happen though. The Ultimate Fighter, man, they've been teasing us for the last year.
So
of it.
I can for a fact tell you, can't give you the source, but I can for a fact tell you that it's coming.
Okay.
They're gonna start filming.
Okay.
This source is a pretty solid source. It's about a 97% right now that it's gonna start. It's supposed to start filming. The thing that threw the wrench here was the whole opening back up and the audience going right here. Ultimately, the UFC decided, all right, well, let's roll it out with, putting Masvidal, putting people into seats. I don't know who the coaches were supposed to be, but we assumed that it was 2 out of the 3, whether it was Masvidal, Colby, or Usman. But from my source, man, is they're supposed to start recording soon, man, within the next month or 2. It's gonna happen.
There we go.
It's gonna happen. The show's gonna happen.
Good.
So it's going to be a tease. So that's what I'm saying. Depending on how this fight finishes, man, if he's still having issues, because I think what this show really looks at. Have you watched the seasons, Ben?
I've watched it. I never watched one live, but I've seen the Cody, the Garbrandt and Dillashaw one. I've watched majority of that. That one was great. I watched majority of the Chael and Vanderlei one.
Okay. So the fights were great and they're entertaining, for the Cory and TJ. But what really kept you in tone? What made it entertaining for you?
Oh, the in between stuff with
the animosity.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly. So the UFC needs something like that, man, to drive ratings. Man, look, there was one with Conor and Uriah.
Yeah.
Man, that thing just blew, man. It was so awesome, man. Watching Conor and Uriah's just back and forth barbs and jabs at each other was so entertaining. Plus, the fights were actually really, really good for the most part throughout that season, man. Yeah. They just nailed it. The UFC needs something like that for the Ultimate Fighter this season, man.
I agree.
with ESPN, you know.
Yeah, but dude, and that's like the huge exposure. Like that Uriah thing came like out of nowhere too.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it wasn't really like they weren't like rivals or anything like that. I feel like it was just like Connor kind of it happened out of nowhere, and then in between, like all these little back and forth, little jabs, kind of started getting more and more boiling up until Uriah was like, "All right, like let's fight then, like let's do it."
Yeah.
And I was like,
It's crazy, and I want to talk about this person in a bit, but he called out the whole TJ stuff, man.
"Yeah,
On the
yeah, yeah,
show.
he did."
And
Yeah,
TJ left, bro. And he left.
yeah,
You know, it was intense, man.
he called it the Mystic Mac prediction.
Yeah, and he called it, bro. And he
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
left. You know, no disrespect, but well, I mean,
yeah,
I want to talk about TJ as we
yeah.
move forward here, though, man. So, what do you think, though? Masvidal, Usman, who takes this one?
I think Usman gets it done again.
I think Usman gets it done.
Yeah, I think the 2 weeks was, or I'm sorry, the 6 days was a factor for sure.
Yeah,
Obviously, not having a full camp, you're not going to be as good. But I also think Usman was training for Burns, so he wasn't really, I'm sure, a different game plan. So I think it's going to be a similar result, but I think it's going to be a better fight for sure. I think Masvidal might sneak a round or two in, like, I don't know. He might get one round, but I really don't think Masvidal is going to get it done. If like you said, if he does, it's going to have to be a finish. And Usman's never been cracked outside Gilbert. Gilbert kind of cracked him in that last fight, but he's never been like in serious trouble before. So I don't know. I don't see it happening, but hey, Masvidal is the one to get it done if there is one. You know?
Yeah, you know, a lot. So a lot of the majority of the people that I've had on, wonderful guests that I've had on the show, have all been in favor of Masvidal. Man, they truly believe that Masvidal is
Really?
going to get it done.
Huh.
Yes, guys like Efrain Escudero, man, you know, former Ultimate Fighter
Yeah.
winner, to Casey Scola, who used to train with him, says that
Huh.
you know it's going to be a different fight. So we'll see, man.
Wonder
Very
why.
interesting. I think Usman gets it done, man.
Yeah.
Zhang versus Rose is going to be a killer one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Zhang has won 21 in a row, man.
Yeah. That's crazy.
21 in a row. She lost her first fight, and that's it.
And then never lost since. She is like so strong. It's bizarre to me how someone that is so light can be so strong. When she
She's
threw
accurate too, man.
yeah, when she she fought what I forget the girl's name. Bate Estaka. The girl that I can't believe I forget her name. The one that knocked out Rose with the slam.
Oh, Andrade.
Andrade, yeah, she's fighting Shevchenko. I always forget her name. Anyways, when she fought Andrade, she came out like a freight train. Like she was throwing knees, elbows, and everything was so strong and powerful. So I cannot.
Interesting, man. I think
Yeah.
Zhang gets it done, though, man. To be honest with
You
you,
think so? I think
Rose is
Rose.
a tough cat, man. Rose
Yeah,
is a tough cat. She's a
I
tough
agree.
customer.
I agree. I think Rose is gonna get it done. I hope. I love Rose. I think she's great. But I hope she gets it done. I think she will. I think she's gonna be able to negate a lot of the damage that Wei is throwing at her. I think because she's taller, right? I'm sure she's got a longer reach. She's a pretty big girl.
I think Rose does, yes.
Yeah. I think she's gonna be able to stay outside of that zone of damage. You know, I hope at least. But regardless, dude, gonna be a huge.
No, it's gonna be a good fight, man. I think Rose. I think one of the biggest strengths that Rose has to her game is how calm she is.
Yeah.
Again, it's very important to stay calm in a fight, and she's as quiet and humble, and she is as calm as they can come in a fight. What do you think of Shevchenko? I think Shevchenko's really been on a run, man.
Yeah.
Not gonna say nothing interests me here, man, but I think that I think she gets it done. She's just been such a dominant champion, man, and it's crazy, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I think she gets it done for sure too. I think she's gonna be. I think she's gonna be too much for Andrade, because Andrade has fought at like 35, 25, and 15. Like she's fought at every weight, so I'm sure she'll be able to compete at that level.
Yeah,
but
sure.
And obviously she knocked out or TKO'd Caitlin Chukagian with that body shot. But I think it's I think Shevchenko's gonna be too much for her. I think she's gonna be too big, too much power.
Huge frame, bro, for the weight.
Yeah, I know it's insane. So yeah, I don't know. I think Shevchenko gets it done just based off of everything that we've seen from her. I mean, near perfection in every way.
Yeah, and to think that Amanda Nunes has beaten that kind of a beast twice, man.
Yeah, That just speaks how good Nunes is too.
For sure, for sure. Let me segue to this.
Yeah,
UFC 262, we have Chandler versus Oliveira.
yeah,
Very interesting fight. I think Dustin made the right decision
for sure.
by not taking the title fight, to be honest with you,
Yeah,
because I feel like he's more than capable of beating Conor McGregor again. If anything, to be honest with you, I'm taking Dustin in the third fight. I'll go say it right now. I
okay.
think that it's the smartest decision that Dustin would have ever done to take the money fight.
Yeah, yeah,
Now, going to Oliveira versus Chandler, I think Oliveira is a phenomenal fighter. He's won 8 in a row. I think Chandler's a very dangerous matchup for him, though.
yeah.
I know some people have come into disagreement with me on that, but what do you think?
I think, man, honestly, I just don't know. I think it's a coin flip, man, because you could see Oliveira be perfect. I mean, he could come out and just grapple, clinch, and be able. And even if Chandler is able to stuff a couple or negate his weird jujitsu and striking, you could see Oliveira come out and look like a stud, or you could come and see Michael Chandler look out like or come out and look like a stud. I don't think it's that one's so hard for me to predict, man, because
Mhm.
we've also only seen very little of Chandler,
Yeah,
in the UFC at least,
yeah.
and we know in Bellator he lost to Pitbull.
Patricio, yeah,
Um,
Patricio.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know, man. That's such a close one. I'm also curious. We've also seen Oliveira when guys that pressure him is not those matchups he's not favored in majority of the times. Like he doesn't do very well moving around. I think he excels when guys are kind of sitting in the pocket and they can get lazy. Guys like Kevin Lee, obviously who he's been able to beat, and Jared Gordon, who he knocked out, I don't know, like a year ago now, but
Tony at the tail end. I mean, I don't
Tony,
know if
yeah,
this is Tony at the tail end. We'll see. The next fight will show us.
yep, yep,
So I agree with you. I think, man, I think Chandler's going to provide a different kind of sense of pressure. And
yep,
I think Chandler knows that there's urgency to finish this guy
right,
because Oliver can go with you, man. He can go toe
yeah,
to toe with you for 5 rounds. He's got that cardio.
right.
So I think the pressure's going to be on Chandler. I think the pressure's on Chandler to win this fight regardless, to be
I
honest
think
with
so
you.
too. I think
Yeah,
so.
because then, I mean, if he goes in there and Oliveira just smoke shows him, I mean, what's it going to tell you,
Exactly.
You
Right.
had one quick, which was an impressive debut, and then
Right.
you get showboat by a legit. And not saying Hooker isn't a legit contender. I
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Dan Hooker a lot, but
Right.
I mean this is like a legit top 2 fighter in the world.
Yeah.
When it comes to in the division.
Right.
So it's gonna be very interesting, man. Very interesting here. Co-main event: Leon versus Nate. I think we can both safely say I think we'll take Leon on that one. I mean, is that correct?
You say you got
I
Leon on
got
that?
I got Leon in this one. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I don't know, man. That's hard because you can never count Nate out,
Yeah,
but
Nate's a G.
of course, but I haven't really seen. There's just not much from Leon that I look at and I'm like, okay, this guy is like like he can do it. Like he can bang with the best. Um, and even if he would have knocked out Muhammad or beat him decisively, I still don't think that would have been enough to make me go, okay, like I'm on board with this guy because he beat RDA, and I think that's the only guy that really is worth noting that he's been able to defeat. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
he's on a big tear, and anyone in the UFC is a tough ask to beat,
Yeah,
regardless.
biggest company
But
in the world. Yeah.
of course. But I think that if you're gonna try and bang with the best, I think you have to beat the best. It's an old saying, but I think
Ric Flair, baby.
I haven't seen enough from Leon, so it's hard for me to tell. I don't know, man. I
So
think Nate
I
might.
think this one's a legit coin flip, though. I think Leon gets it done, but for you, this one sounds like more of a coin flip than the main event
Yeah,
for you.
definitely, definitely.
That's gonna be in Houston.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I kind of want Nate to win just for the storyline of everything. If he wins, he inserts his name into that welterweight pool now.
Yeah.
Um, Kind of puts a new spice onto things. So I hope he wins just for the sake of that. But yeah, I just don't know. I haven't seen enough from Leon. That's the only reason that I'm not super ready to get on board with him yet. So
It's crazy. You know what? I just got it. So I just got an alert right here. So Poirier just signed the contract.
really,
Poirier just signed the con. Yep, it's
really,
happening. Poirier
July
agrees to the Conor McGregor trilogy fight on July 10th.
July 10th. Dang. Well, we
You
got a
know,
date,
I
baby.
like Poirier in that one. You know what's funny about that, Jonah? So, and I guess I talked to a few guys, but okay. So I talked to Mike Bond first when he was in Abu Dhabi and he was doing the coverage for that fight, and I told Mike, and I think I think he's telling me that he's friends with Dustin. I was
Mm.
telling him, man, everyone's saying Connor. A lot of people, the majority of the people are saying Connor, and you know it's understandable. Like we're hardcore fans,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of people that are just the casuals. You know, the big fights on, pull out
Yeah.
beers. It's just a reason to drink. You know, whatever it is. Regardless, I enjoy a good cocktail during the fight.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a lot of those casual fans, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they're saying Connor's gonna win. Connor's gonna win. I'm like, guys, okay, let's
Yeah.
hold on a minute, man.
Yeah.
He beat Cerrone. The way he beat Cerrone was what you expect for a level, type of fighter like
Right.
Connor to be able to beat a guy like Cerrone again towards the down end of his career. You know,
Right.
and I think that a lot of people were riding the wagon a lot, but I was telling people, even people that watch the sport, I'm like, hold on here, guys. Like, Dustin Poirier is a legit fighter. So
Yeah.
he lost to Khabib. Everyone's lost to Khabib.
Yeah.
You know, everyone loses to Khabib.
Right.
We're not going to judge Poirier for that kind of a performance. I've seen him fight in some of the best matches that I've ever seen it, like with my eyes as a fan, whether it was against Hooker, whether it was against Gaethje, beating guys like Alvarez, who, you know, aren't a joke here, man.
Yeah. Of course.
So I told myself, like, you know, I think this is going to be a harder fight than what people are anticipating for McGregor to have. Obviously, you know, I went with Poirier in that one, and Poirier was able to win. I got Poirier in this one too, man. I think Connor made the wrong decision by wanting to get a third fight, man. I would have
Yeah.
taken a tune-up. At that sense, I would have taken a tune-up fight.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I going into the first one, or I'm sorry, their second fight, I was rocking with Connor,
Okay.
and that was just because obviously Poirier is a dog, and
Yeah,
he's scrapped with the best, and he's been doing it for more frequently than Connor, and
exactly there.
just as long, and he's been in there with the best. His cardio is insane. His boxing is so crisp. He's incredibly well rounded. But I just think that I thought going in that people were saying the same thing about Aldo. People were saying the same thing about Alvarez when he moved up. I think that if when Connor has that power, you know, and he has that aura
Timing.
around him, of course, yeah, the
Yeah,
speed,
the timing.
angle, accuracy, you know, he's like you said, precision beats power, and
Timing
like
beats speed.
timing beats speed. So I was rocking with Connor. But I was surprised, man. Poirier really, really surprised me. I thought it was going to be obviously more competitive than the first one.
Yeah.
I didn't think Connor was going to go out there and just smoke him in one.
Yeah.
But I did think Connor was going to be able to get him within 15 minutes for sure. I thought the first three, obviously, if it goes later, I think Poirier would have the edge, just because cardio and Connor's cardio has been always kind of in the air a little bit. But yeah, I had Connor going in, and going into the third one, man, I think I'm still gonna ride with Connor, just because, I obviously he knocked out Connor, you know, but Connor knocked him out a long time ago. But they were both, Poirier was young. They were both still kind of on the rise,
Yeah.
raw, you know, very raw guys. But I just think Connor still has that accuracy, and I think he's gonna be able to pick his shots and I don't know. He did seem different too to me. He seemed different when he went out against Aldo. I know it was at 45, but when he went out against Aldo, he was very loose for the 13 seconds that it was happening.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
looked
yeah.
very loose. Even against Alvarez, very loose, very calm, kind of looking, and then bang, and then it would happen. You'd be like, whoa. He didn't really look like he was in there. Like I think he
This
was just,
fight,
yeah, yeah. It looked like he was kind of coasting to me. Like he landed a couple good shots in the first, but I don't know. It didn't seem like and it's probably because Poirier wasn't giving him anything, you know. Maybe it's just me not seeing that, you know. But I don't know. To me, I can't bet against Connor. That's the only reason.
for sure. So, like for me, and I showed this fight. One of my close buddies doesn't really watch MMA a lot, but I was showing him like, okay, like Conor McGregor. Who's this Conor McGregor guy? I always hear about them. So I showed him my friend told me, give me the best version of Conor McGregor. Like, let's watch the fight. Let's watch a legit Conor McGregor fight. Give me his best version. So to me, when I thought of best version, I thought of, you know, him against Eddie.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
Him against Eddie. That's when I think of, like, man, this is like him at his absolute best. I'm not gonna say toyed with him, bro, but he dominated him. It
he
was a dominating fight, man. And every single facet, the
crazy
aura was there, the persona was there, and it was magical in a
magical.
sense, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Magical, bro. So that happened, right? So the build up to the fight wasn't what it used to be. And watching the fight itself, my friend's like, "Hey, I thought this was supposed to be Conor McGregor," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I mean, he's gotten into some issues, whatever, like that. He's trying to be calm and stuff like that." And my friend told me it feels flat. Like it just feels flat, man. Like
Looked
it
flat.
feels flat. We're hardcore again. We're hardcore MMA fans. So Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier, we're like, oh yeah, awesome,
Yeah.
right? But he was telling me it just feels kind of flat. So he went in and it felt like a flat performance. And then I was talking about this with another guy, and I was telling him it kind of feels flat. Like we don't need him smashing dollies for sure. We don't need him smashing dollies, throwing water bottles with Nate. Even though, like, is that not like a hell of a way to sell a fight for somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was intense. I don't wish anything bad on anyone,
Sure.
but we don't need those kind of things. But man, I miss the smack talking. It feels a little bit flat now.
Yeah.
So I wonder how the buildup's gonna be. I think this pay per view, the next pay per view with them, it's gonna smash records
Yeah. Yeah.
regardless, man. I
Yeah.
mean, we're gonna
For sure.
100% watch that fight, you know.
Absolutely.
So it's gonna be very interesting for me, man. I'm gonna take Dustin right now.
Yeah.
I've believed in him. Let's see what's gonna happen here. I think that my biggest thing worry about Dustin is for him to just know that those he's gonna check those kicks.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be you're not gonna go in there with the same game plan and beat this guy.
Sure.
And I think
Yeah.
Dustin's a vet too, and he knows that. So it's a matter of just how he's able to change and adjust because obviously it's not going to be anywhere near close the first or the second fight.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting there. Let me segue to the final thing as we wrap it up. Cory versus TJ, man. Very interesting fight.
Yeah.
Huge TJ fan. I know we're running short on time here. What do you think, man? Who do you think wins?
I I don't know, man. That's these fights are so good, man.
I'm salivating at this one. So when all these announcements with Khabib and all these other fights coming going down, I saw my friend, man. Oh, I'm just salivating at this. Like I was just so excited. And the
Yeah.
Corey and like TJ fight is just like my dessert right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't freaking wait for that
The
fight,
it's
man.
the icing on the cake.
Yeah, bro. Like for me, like this is like out of all the fights, man. Believe it or not, man. Out of all the fights, this is the one I'm looking forward to the most, man.
Really.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna see TJ Dillashaw back. I want to see because it's gonna be clean.
Yeah.
Not taking shots. It's gonna be clean, 100%. And Cory Sandhagen's an animal. And there was, I mean, rumblings that when they were training together, Cory was giving TJ all he could handle. So, man,
Dude,
I
I
can't wait for this fight.
man, Corey is he's so crafty. That's the best word that I think I can use to describe him.
Yeah,
Because he will throw anything at you. You don't expect it. It's bizarre. It's not reckless, but it's calculated but random is what it is.
yeah,
If that's not an oxymoron.
yeah.
But yeah, man, I think TJ gets it done, just because he
It's
he's
hard,
a,
man.
I know it's a hard one to predict again, and I wouldn't be surprised if Corey got it too. I wouldn't be surprised. Same thing with Connor and Dustin. I wouldn't be surprised if Dustin got it.
Yeah.
But if I have to, gun to my head, have to pick one, I think Dillashaw's going to get it done.
I'm gonna take Corey in that one, man. Let's see what happens, man. I think the activity may affect TJ. I know somebody that's training real close with TJ, and he's telling me, man, that TJ looks really good.
Really?
Still hard for me. Oh, I hope he doesn't get mad at me for picking Corey, but you know, I like Corey, man. We'll see, man. Happens. I think Corey's really changed his thought process since the Sterling fight. He said it himself. He's figured some things out, and he's looking really good. So we'll see right there. As we sign off, Jonah, is there anything you want to tell anybody that's listening right
No,
now?
no, man. Hey, go check out Behind the Grind. Check out my interviews, and if you like what you heard, all of the stuff should be in my bio on Instagram. But thank you for the time, bro. It's been good talking to you.
Hey, appreciate it. Appreciate you taking the time. And for everyone out there listening right now, I'll have Jonah's Instagram linked on the description below. And thanks for joining me today, folks. Have a safe, great week. Stay safe, guys. Take care. Goodbye.